Hello guys and welcome back to Championship Predictions. We are back predicting the second tier of English football for the second time this week. I'm joined as always by the wonderful Sophie.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm buzzing after our midweek last minute winner.
Yes, honestly, I'm very happy. Before we get into the predictions guys, let's set a like target of 2,500. It takes 2 seconds to hit the like button, and what else do the viewers need to do?
Subscribe.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button. Thank you if you already have, but if you haven't already, we are closing in on 92,000, which is absolutely fantastic. This season has been amazing. Let's get into the predictions, Sophie, and you did get the better of me in midweek. I'm pretty happy that I managed to get Coventry's score prediction right, but you did get Burnley to win 2-0, and you also backed Portsmouth to win 2-1, so you did pretty well there.
Yeah, I said as soon as I'll be back in the videos, my predictions will be better, and I wasn't wrong, so...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Humble.
Guys, be sure to share your predictions down in the comments as we go along, and let's get into the fixtures, Sophie. We start with Friday night's game, QPR take on Derby County. Now, we got to see QPR on Tuesday night. I thought they were quite alright, to be fair.
Yeah, an organised team, really.
On reflection, I do think the QPR Coventry game, if it was a draw, that probably would have been a fair result.
Yeah.
I liked them. I thought their fans made a good noise. I think Marti Cifuentes has done an incredible job this season and last season, and they could still make the playoffs, but they have to win games like this. They are at home to Derby County. Now, Derby County, at this moment in time, haven't announced John Eustace, but it does seem inevitable. They drew 0-0 with Oxford in midweek, which is an okay result. It moves them out of the bottom three, but they do need to find some wins somewhere, and if they're not going to win the home games, they've got to try and win some away games. I think Derby will come here and try and shut the shop and try and get out of here with a 0-0, try and snatch it 1-0 maybe, but I think QPR will have the quality to edge this. I'm going to go QPR 2, Derby 1.
Okay, I'm going for the same deficit. I'm going to say QPR this time aren't on the receiving end of a 1-0. They're inflicting it upon Derby. I don't think it'll be in the same fashion, but I do see this being like a low scoring game, to be honest, because ultimately Derby desperately need the points. So I think they'll make it really difficult for QPR, but I think they will get back to winning ways being at home now. So 1-0. 1-0,
yeah. It's a big game for both. Both have got a lot to play for. Like I say, I can still see QPR making the playoffs, but they are going to have to be really consistent. As for Derby, they need anything they can to get away from that bottom three. Yeah. It's really difficult predicting 3 teams to get relegated this season, Sophie, because you've got Luton bottom, Plymouth are improving, Hull City are down there, Derby are changing the manager. Someone's going to go down that we don't expect. Let's move on to the next game, Sophie. It's Cardiff City versus Bristol City, and Cardiff are another one of those teams that are deep in relegation trouble. They lost 2-1 to Portsmouth in midweek, as you predicted. I still have this feeling that they're just too experienced in the Championship to get relegated. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't see Cardiff getting relegated for some reason.
No,
but it could happen. They take on Bristol City, and Bristol City are right on the edges of the playoffs. They got a crucial win over Stoke City in midweek, a nice 2-0 win. So the previous results and the league table suggests Bristol City should win, but I don't know. It seems to me that whenever Bristol City get close to the playoffs, they panic and lose. And like I say,
like a lot of the teams up there, to be honest. No, not just them.
No one's being that consistent in the playoff race, and I think Cardiff, with the home advantage, might actually win. I'm going to go Cardiff 1-0.
Oh wow! I was backing a draw, and I thought that I might get a little bit of stick saying like, look, Bristol City are absolutely flying. Ultimately, I feel like Cardiff are really going to have to battle out for the points, much like Derby, but when you're down there, you really need to battle, especially when you're low down. But then you're coming up against a team that are fighting for the playoffs, so this is a really good matchup. I think they'll cancel each other out, actually. I'll say 1-1. If I was to lean towards any side, it would be the favourites in Bristol City, but I think Cardiff might hold them to a draw.
Yeah, it probably doesn't do a lot for either. They both need to win, don't they?
A draw, yeah.
Do share your thoughts, Cardiff and Bristol City fans. The next game, Sophie, is between Oxford United and Portsmouth. Obviously, these two came up last season and they're both doing all right. In particular, Oxford, they're quite clear of that bottom three. And Portsmouth, after that win against Cardiff, Portsmouth are looking a little bit safer, aren't they?
Yeah. It's their home form that's carrying them, isn't it?
I was just about to say that. With Oxford having the home advantage, do they win maybe?
I know. Or another draw for them.
I think it might be a draw.
Yeah.
I think Portsmouth will know that coming here on the back of that win at home, if they get a draw, they're moving, aren't they? They're just keep adding points to that tally, and I think both of these are going to stay up this season. Oxford 1, Portsmouth 1.
I was going to say 1-1 as well.
You can if you want to.
Nah, I've got some making up to do. I'll go 0-0. I think it'd be a stalemate. Purely because I don't think that's a bad result for Portsmouth on the road to get a point away from home against Oxford that are doing pretty good this season. They've surprised me anyway. And then they're not in desperate need for points, so I think that's why a draw might play out, to be honest. So 0-0.
0-0. There you go. Sounds like fun. But it could still be a crucial point for both teams. I think
exactly.
Oxford would have to be quite bad now to get relegated because what are they on? 38 points or something? They're doing
something like that.
Really well. On to the next game, Sophie. A Lancashire derby as Preston take on Burnley, and it feels like it could be a close game. Preston, what a win on Tuesday night away at Norwich, 1-0.
Yeah, I didn't see that happening. Grinding out a 1-0 at Norwich, where Norwich have been really good at home. Good result.
Yeah, Preston are solid defensively. Osmajic got the goal, and it was a good, it was kind of routine in the end. I think Preston looked fairly comfortable at times.
They did, yeah.
As for Burnley, though, I mean, they've got the best defence. I mean, they haven't conceded in about 20,000 years. Honestly, they kept a clean sheet in midweek again. They beat Hull City 2-0, and they're really applying the pressure on Sheffield United. They've got to win this game, though. And I don't know, I think...
It's either going to be a 0-0 or a Burnley 1-0.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. I think Preston might get something, and if they do, is it going to be a 0-0? I'm going to go for a really bold statement here, Sophie.
What do they score?
Burnley are going to concede a goal. 1-1.
Wow. Oh, I feel like I'm going to have to go different. I was going to say 0-0, but I'll go Burnley 1-0. To be fair, Burnley midweek, they did impress me because I'm guilty, as well as a lot of people that will say, oh, sometimes they're just very boring to watch. And that is a compliment because they're that effective and they just don't concede goals, that it's not that entertaining. But ultimately, they're getting the points on the board and that's all that matters for them. They did score 2 midweek. I think they'll go back to just scoring the 1. Yeah, I'll go Burnley 1-0.
There you go, Burnley 1-0. Yeah. Do share your thoughts down in the comments, guys. It is a massive game for Burnley. I mean, Preston
as well, because they're not entirely out of the playoffs as well. They've got that game in hand, haven't they? So
if Preston can be really consistent, I suppose, yeah, they could still win at the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see. The next game, Sophie, is between Blackburn Rovers and Plymouth Argyle. And I need to start by offering a public apology.
I think we'll both
to both of them.
Yeah.
To both of them.
We're sorry.
First of all, Blackburn. I mean, we both said West Brom would beat them 3-0, but I think it was incredible character without John Eustace to go and win at West Brom and keep a clean sheet as well.
Yeah.
I have had a Blackburn fan privately message me and say, I hope you can give a mention to what's going on at Blackburn and highlight some of our concerns. And I will, actually. I mean,
we've been there.
Despite them being fifth, and they're above us in the table.
Yeah.
What's going on off the pitch is not great, with the Venkies and the fact that John Eustace would rather take over a club down at the bottom 3. It just needs, new ownership, really, doesn't it?
Ultimately, that's where it is. It's the ownership.
But if Blackburn can still get in the playoffs despite of what's going on off the pitch, that's an incredible achievement. So we will see. Let's talk about Plymouth, though, Sophie. Of course, they beat Liverpool in the FA Cup at the weekend, and we were like, wow.
Yeah.
And they've just beaten Millwall 5-1.
5-1.
And we're like, wow.
Whoa. Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, Plymouth, all of a sudden, they could win the cup and make the playoffs. Do you know what? This is really difficult. I was thinking to myself, when Plymouth won 5-1, I thought, whoever they're playing at the weekend, I'm going to have to back them to win. And I was thinking the same about Blackburn after they beat West Brom. I was like...
And so that they're playing each other.
And then I see Blackburn are playing Plymouth. I'm like, I can't back both of them to win. I might go for a draw. I might go for some entertainment. Let's go for a 2-2 draw.
I said to you, I'm going for a 2-2. I'm going to stick with it. I don't want to go against either team because I am genuinely sorry for last week's predictions. You proved me wrong. Never know, you might prove me wrong again and either team might win this one, but I don't know. I think both teams will be on a high after their last result because they were both really, really good results. So Yeah, I think it could be an entertaining 2-2.
Honestly, I genuinely think Plymouth might stay up now. It's silly to rule them out. It's silly to say they're down, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think 99% of people weeks ago ruled them out, especially under Rooney. It was like one sure thing. I'd stick my mortgage on them going down. Now he's gone and they're putting in some good performances. You think, oh, they genuinely could stay up. They might have left it too late, but ultimately, if you look at the points, if you look at the points, you think, no, they're not down and out.
No way. They're above Luton. They're, 1 point from safety or 2 points from safety? They're really close. They've beaten Brentford. They've beaten West Brom. They've beaten Liverpool. They've beaten Millwall 5-1. They are flying.
I think what it is, they're too good for this league, and that's where they've been struggling.
Yeah, that's probably
Sticking
it. As for Blackburn, though, considering the playoff race is wide open, they could make it. They could.
Yeah.
On to the next game, Sophie. Hull City take on Norwich. It's another game where one team is trying to stay up, one team is trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hull City, they lost 2-0 to Burnley. There's no disgrace in that. Burnley are keeping clean sheets against everyone.
Yeah.
As for Norwich, though, we didn't anticipate them losing at home to Preston. It's been a poor week for them. They drew 1-1 with Derby with a last-minute Derby goal.
True.
And then they've lost to Preston at home. They've got to make up for it by winning away. And well, this could go either way, to be honest. I will go with Norwich, though, because Hull City have lost a couple of games. And Hull City need to win, but I'm going Norwich 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going 2-1 as well. I was going to change it, but I've done that quite a few times this video. So, do you know what? I feel like a Norwich 2-1 will play out. I'm going to stick with my guns. I think ultimately they're seeing the teams around them in the playoff push, gaining ground on them, and they really need the win. I know you could say the same for Hull as well, but I feel like Norwich, especially with Sargent in the team, Signs is back, surely they get a win. And it's not definite in the Championship.
Wow.
Anything can happen, can't it?
That's what I thought against Preston. I thought,
true.
Now they've got Sargent and Signs, they should be firing, but they've got to be more consistent. The next game, Sophie, is between Luton Town and Sheffield United. These two, of course, came down from the Premier League last season, and now they are worlds apart. 22 places separate them in the table, with Sheffield United second, despite a 2-point deduction, and Luton bottom, below Plymouth now, below everyone down there. Luton were not good against Sunderland, and
not at all.
I felt so sorry for those Luton fans that went up to Sunderland.
Yeah, it's a long old journey, and then when your team put in that performance, you think, give me a refund at least.
Luton have to go and get a result now. Probably have to get something here, because they're rotting away, and they could get cut adrift. They've got to try and get something. Even if they get a draw, that'd be great. But Sheffield United were really good against Middlesbrough. A good 3-1 win, and they actually played really well. They did. They deserved it. Let's go Luton 1, Sheffield United 3.
Oh, so another 3-1 for the Blades. 2-0 Blades. Ultimately, what I'm seeing right now from Luton doesn't fill me with any encouragement that they might stay up. I genuinely, at this point in time, am pretty confident they will go down unless they hit a major turn, but I don't see that happening. Then we're looking at Sheffield United, who we'd said they're not always playing the best, but they're getting the 3 points. And against Middlesbrough, they played well and got the 3 points. So I think the same could happen again against Luton, 2-0.
It's not even been 2 years since Luton beat Coventry in the playoff final. And I was thinking, no. But now look, we're in a better position than them.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it? The next game, Sophie, is between Middlesbrough and Watford. Both sides lost in midweek. Middlesbrough lost 3-1 to Sheffield United, as we just mentioned, and Watford were the latest victims of Leeds United. 4-0.
Battering.
Yeah. Watford, I think, they could technically still make the playoffs, but if they lose this game, we're getting to a point where they're going to have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
So they've got to try and come and win here, but Middlesbrough are going to need a response, and I think Middlesbrough are more likely to win. They've got the home advantage, and I do fancy them that bit more in the playoff race. Middlesbrough 2, Watford 1.
Okay, do you know what? I might actually go for a bonus point in this one, because I've said before that I do like some of Watford's players. And I've said that Middlesbrough at the back are quite shaky. They've got some good attacking threat, but at the back, that's what's been letting them down ultimately this season. So I'm going to go Middlesbrough, get the win, 3-2.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it could be a juicy one.
Oh, a juicy one. Yeah. A juicy one at Riverside. Do share your thoughts if you're a Middlesbrough or Watford fan. Middlesbrough do need a response. And if Borough don't make the playoffs this season, is that the end for Michael Carrick?
Probably.
There's pressure.
Yeah, I think they're already saying Carrick out after some of the performances, to be honest. It
They're
seems
not
that
consistent, are they?
No, they're not consistent at all. And then it seems like, has he really got a plan B? If so, he's not executing it very often. So I can see why they're getting frustrated.
Sticking with the playoff race, let's move on to the Den, Sophie, as Millwall take on West Bromwich Albion. Both sides lost in midweek, Sophie. I was confused by both
They're
of them.
literally playing like the reverse fixture, aren't they?
Yeah, because you mean they played Blackburn and Plymouth?
So Rovers, Plymouth, and now it's them two.
West Brom obviously lost 2-0 to Blackburn at home. I was really confused by that. And having had a look at what some of the West Brom fans have had to say online, a lot of it is being put on Tony Mowbray.
Oh, I've not seen that.
I think Tony Mowbray, I mean... you
what, as in selection? Or
and
tactics?
Style of football, yeah.
Right, okay.
I think... away from football, Tony Mowbray is really lovable. And to be honest, when it comes to football, he is really lovable as well. But when you've been used to Carlos Corberán and that defensive solidity, to then go to Tony Mowbray, where it's all guns blazing and you're conceding
just
and everything.
Chaos,
I think there's more chance they miss out on the playoffs now. But that said, they have got Adam Armstrong. They have got good players. They could win this. They're away at Millwall, who just got battered by Plymouth.
True.
But I'm actually going to go for Millwall. Millwall to bounce back. Millwall 2, West Brom 1.
I'm going boring here. I'm going 1-1. I think it wasn't a good result for West Brom to lose at home when it was a good opportunity, really. When you've got Blackburn, as I've already mentioned, they've got all the off-field antics, so really you should be taking advantage of that. Yeah, Millwall, they got absolutely spanked by Plymouth, who usually are the ones getting spanked. So I think both teams here steady the ship 1-1 and then push on after this. I
quite like that prediction. I do think both teams' confidence will be on the floor somewhat, especially Millwall's. I mean, what was that about?
Yeah.
On to the next game, Sophie. We go to Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday take on Coventry City for the 10th time in 2 years. This will be interesting, Sophie, because both teams got a win in midweek and we're both really close to the playoffs. I really am struggling to separate this one. I did say at the start of this week, if Coventry can get 4 points from QPR and Sheffield Wednesday, that's a good week.
Yeah.
We've now won the QPR game. If we draw this, it's not bad.
No.
If we win this, that'd be great, but am I getting greedy? Maybe. Sheffield Wednesday are missing Barry Bannon, which is a big blow, but that didn't stop them beating Swansea on Wednesday night. It was a 1-0 win. Swansea did score in the last minute, but it was offside, so Wednesday got past that one. Wednesday will be looking for some revenge on Coventry after we knocked them out of the FA Cup, but then at the same time we want some revenge on them because they beat us in the last minute back at the CBS in the league. I really can't separate this. I know Coventry are taking like nearly 4,000 fans, which is great. Sheffield Wednesday fans are always noisy. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I really do think both teams could make the playoffs. Both in good positions, both got good managers, Lampard and Danny Roll. I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, so how I felt before the QPR game, being the home side, it felt like a must not lose because that other team is in a playoff chase as well. It ultimately feels like this again for this game, and I feel like Sheffield Wednesday might feel more like that because they're the home side, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm going boring again. I'm saying a 1-1 draw. As you mentioned, I would have took 4 points from these two games, so I don't want to get too greedy now and I don't want to be too biased and say, yeah, we go here and win. It does kind of depend on Frank Lampard's team selection for me, whether we'll get something from this game, but he has got it right last couple of times. So, yeah, we'll see. But ultimately, I would take a draw.
Yeah, do share your thoughts, Coventry and Sheffield Wednesday fans, and do join us for the live stream on the channel on Saturday. The next game is between Stoke City and Swansea City. Both sides lost in midweek, both didn't score, both in a bit of trouble. I mean, Swansea did get that win against Bristol City on Sunday, which has kind of pulled them away from the bottom three, and I don't think they will go down, but they're not safe. And Stoke, despite having Mark Robbins, not doing great.
No.
We did say he's a long-term manager, but yeah, he's got to get some results. They lost 2-0 to Bristol City and they need to bounce back. He never tended to do too well against Swansea.
No.
I think both need to win, but I'm not going to go for either to win. I'm actually going to go for a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, so am I actually. I don't know why. I look at this game and I feel like 0-0. It's two teams that are struggling, low on confidence. I can't really see where the goals are going to come from, so ends 0-0 for me.
Yeah, not a bad result, but not a great result. Both need to get wins. Let's move on to the final game, Sophie. On Monday night, it's Leeds United versus Sunderland. This should be good.
Wow.
It's a massive game and a massive opportunity for either team to make a statement in this promotion race. Leeds United are absolutely smashing everyone at the minute. And I was saying to Sophie yesterday, on reflection, Coventry's 2-0 loss to Leeds is looking like a very good result.
Not that bad.
Because before that, they won 7-0 against Cardiff. After that, they've won 4-0 against Watford. Leeds are on fire, and yeah, they didn't want to be in the FA Cup. They're concentrating on the league.
And that was a good decision, to be fair.
They've got to win this to really put a show on. If anything, I suppose a draw's not a terrible result, but Leeds are going to fancy their chances. They're at home, they're destroying the league at the minute, and they really should have won at Sunderland earlier this season if it wasn't for that Meslier mistake.
Yeah.
Sunderland, if they really want to put the pressure on, have got to come here and win. A draw maybe wouldn't be a bad result for them, but I'm going to go for Leeds to make a statement. 3-0. I'm going to go for Leeds to be like, that's it, Sunderland, you're out of this promotion race, we're taking over.
So annoying, because I was thinking 3-0 as well, and do you know what, I'm going to stick with it. I think we've seen Leeds battering some really good teams. I mean, they beat Coventry City,
very good teams.
They beat Cardiff and Watford as well, and they're just looking so good right now. Sunderland aren't a bad team either, they're rightfully up there, they've got enough points on the board where you think, yeah, playoffs definitely. But ultimately they are fighting for the top two, and if they want the top two they need to be winning games like this or do not lose. But honestly right now you'd be daft to knock back Leeds. They're looking so good, so dominant, and I think it would be a statement win. 3-0.
Do share your thoughts down in the comments, guys. We are both back in Leeds. Yeah, I just fancy Leeds to win the league, and that's why.
Yeah.
So then, guys, there you have it. They are our championship predictions for this weekend. Be sure to share your predictions down in the comments, guys. There's some massive games coming, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support so far this season, guys. We really appreciate it. Get involved if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one, Sophie.
Take care and peace out.